Welcome ladies and gentlemen to my first video of the new year, 2016. I hope you had a great and safe, happy New Year's. Hopefully your parties last night were great. You were able to have a little bit of fun and then be able to responsibly get back home so you could tune into what? More Vegabomber videos and more Star Wars news and everything else. So anyways, I was sitting down looking at my best movies of 2015. You know, every time when the new year starts, you sit back and you just say, you know what? You look back at what you did in 2015 or the year prior, and then you start looking forward, like the things you're going to head, the things that you're excited about that are going to happen moving forward. And so, looking back, 2015 was a pretty interesting year in movies. You've seen most of my reviews, and so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and give you my top 10 movies of 2015. Right, so and there were several. So I'm going to start with number 10. Now, just to let you know, I did do one of these videos back in October because I meant to do one in September, but got caught up in a time crunch. And so this list even changes from October to December in terms of where I'm at. So number 10, Focus. I still like the Will Smith movie with Margot Robbie. I think it was an excellent heist film. I think it went under the radar, but I judge these movies by rewatchability. Like, would I buy the DVD and then would I watch that DVD? Would I invite friends over to come watch it because they also think it'd be a good time? And I think Focus qualifies for that. Number 9, Age of Ultron. Yeah, I have it at number 9. This movie was pretty good. I was anticipating it. I couldn't wait to see this movie. Unfortunately, I had a lot of it spoiled for me through featurettes and commercials and everything else. I felt like when I saw this movie, I already saw everything that was pretty much in it. The only thing I couldn't guess was the fact that Hawkeye was married. Spoiler review, but by now, come on, surely you've seen the movie. So that's why Age of Ultron's at number 9 and maybe not higher. Number 8, Jurassic World. Jurassic World came out on a blaze. Again, I have to go back to, was this movie fun? Was this movie entertaining? Yes, it was. Does it have problems? Sure, but overall, going into this movie, I had a good time, and definitely seeing the new, what is it, Indominus Rex go up against one of the older dinosaurs, one of the T-Rexes. Okay, come on, that's really what you're paying to see anyway. So, yeah, I had a good time with that. Number 7 was a movie that was actually released in, I guess, in time for Oscar nomination in December of 2014, but the open release for it, the wide release I mean, for it was like January 15th, and that was American Sniper. I really thought that was a good film. I like war movies as well. If I like Star Wars, why can't I watch these kind of movies as well? A lot of parallels sometimes that you see, but I thought that this movie was well done, and I thought, I believe the director was Clint Eastwood. I thought Clint Eastwood did an excellent job showing you the kind of struggle that a soldier would have, having to go out being a soldier, but then try to come back and get back into regular civilian life. I mean, it's such a difference in atmosphere and tone and everything else, and trying to shut that off. I can't imagine what that was like. So, American Sniper, yeah, number 7 easily. Number 6, a movie that probably a lot of people haven't seen. I love history, so Selma. It was a movie by, I guess, the first movie in terms of being able to make it to the silver screen by Ava DuVernay. I thought she did an excellent job with Selma. Selma is a good sleeper film. Sure, it's not going to be a movie with a lot of blinking lights and explosions and everything hitting beat, 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 beat. It's not. It's an historical film, so it allows it some time to breathe and give you some of that dramatic weight and the actors, David Oyelowo, he did a great job portraying one of the most iconic men ever. I mean, people talk about all the different men that have come along that were good as long as women, and who doesn't quote or mention something about MLK? And I think from this perspective, David Oyelowo did a great job. A British Nigerian had the task of trying to sound like a Southern Atlantean, and then also to have a cadence of a Southern preacher like Martin Luther King Jr. was, and then of course as beloved as he was. There's more things could go wrong for him, but I think he nailed it. And if you haven't had a chance to see the movie, I would tell you that you can go back and pick up that Blu-ray or that DVD or watch it on VOD. It is a good movie, especially if you're someone who's really into history. Let's get into now my top 5. Number 5 is going to be James Bond, Spectre, and mainly because I thoroughly enjoyed that fight scene on the train between David Bautista and Daniel Craig. In fact, I will go on record saying this, and you can go watch this film and tell me if you see different. The best fight scene, I'm talking about hand-to-hand street fight, in any of film this year was that one. You know, some of these films, whenever they choreograph fight scenes, you know, you can see that the guy is swinging from a mile away. It's not even close to connecting, and you see but this fight scene, you see it. There's some energy taken out. There's people getting tired. There's people getting hurt, actually, in a fight scene, and you can see it. So David Bautista and Daniel Craig put on one of the best fight scenes I've seen in a long time. And I qualify it by saying street fight and fist, because, you know, there were some boxing movies that came out this year that had some pretty good fight scenes too. Number 4 for me would be Mad Max. Now, here's why it's Mad Max, right? Because this doesn't have a complicated story. It's not super deep, and I like stuff like that. But the visual assault that you got, like, we see a lot of films with a lot of visuals in it today. I mean, that's what drives most of the movies. Just a lot of blinking lights and action, 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 action. That's all we kind of want to see somewhat. And I guess we want to turn our brains off and just dumb it down and let us just be entertained. Well, this movie, in a time where there's lots of visual effects, somehow still manages to stand up and stand out. I mean, the visuals are incredible. I'd buy the DVD for sure. I don't know that I'd watch it a whole bunch of times, because, you know, once you see something visually, but I would watch it again. And I do think that it was incredibly shot. And again, maybe I'm just a Charlize Theron fan, and maybe that's part of it too. But I was thoroughly entertained. Number 3. This one would be Straight Outta Compton. Yes, my number 3 film of the year. These are my best films now. From 3 to 1, best films. But Straight Outta Compton, this was an incredible biopic. And obviously everyone else liked it too, because it's now the number 1 biopic ever. And I'm very happy for producer F. Gary Gray that he was able to get such an honor. There's not very many, in this case, African-American directors who's had films over 200 million. I wasn't even aware of that. I thought surely this had been broken before, but he's the first one, and I think that's awesome. But not so much just that. It was just the storytelling of a band that I know about. A group. I keep calling them a band. A group that I know about. And NWA was big when I was in college, and, you know, the voice, everything they came out with, the things that they said, the way they went about it, I mean, it was kind of like a, hey, check us out, check what's going on. You know, they hipped a lot of people to the world of Rodney King. That, you know, Rodney King thing happened in '91. Most people didn't realize that's been going on for years in the hood, and NWA was talking about it way before, you know, it became a big news story. And so I thought that was incredible. But then again, if it's not so much about that, the time and history that movie deals with, it would also be just the acting performances from a bunch of people you hadn't really heard of. Ice Cube's son did a great job. The actor that did Eazy-E, Jason Mizell, I think his name is, or Jason Mitchell, he was excellent. And then the guy, Corey, that played Dr. Dre, not only did he look like him, he sounded like him. I mean, performances were being put in. And then a movie that would be gritty and very street had a lot of humor in it. It made you laugh as well. So Straight Outta Compton, you know, again, not necessarily maybe the way I would handle certain things, but the way they told that story, it deserves to be the best music biopic ever, because it really was compelling. Number 2, this is going to be pretty controversial, because I struggled with making this video just for this reason. Number 2 and number 1, it's almost like almost first place and then runner up, really, than it being so much a second tier film. Number 2 for me, believe it or not, it's The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens. I anticipated this film like many other Star Wars fans. Couldn't wait to see this film, and it came. In terms of entertainment, the same thing. If you give it the Jurassic World test, yes, it did what it needed to do. It was entertaining. It moved. It moved at a pace that you needed, I guess, to engender new fans to it. But just like Jurassic World, there's some parts of it that you're kind of like, okay, really? And I would say that The Force Awakens is that movie. It's a movie that I love, but at the same time, I can also recognize that it has some issues in it, or some things in it that I would have probably liked to have seen handled a different way. But again, that's just me. And it's just my little opinion of what I think of The Force Awakens. But it's certainly a good movie. But it wasn't enough to edge out number one. And number one is Creed, by the way. Number one. Just like Star Wars Force Awakens, it's kind of like a soft reboot, if you will. The thing is that the themes in Rocky really carried for me. And then I thought that Michael B. Jordan's performance was incredible. And I thought Sylvester Stallone, who now doesn't have to, in this film, write it, produce it, or shoot it. All he had to do was just focus on the acting, and he did. Just like Harrison Ford recaptured Han Solo, well, Sylvester Stallone did the same thing, recapturing Rocky. He didn't look like Sylvester Stallone just trying to make money off of an old character he created. Same thing with Harrison Ford. So I give this movie, Creed, just to me, it outperformed The Force Awakens at the end of the day for me. Because I'm a fan of both franchises. Star Wars was 77 when it started. Rocky started in 76. And I feel like if you watch Creed, you have more at the end of the film to be really, really jacked up about and excited about, and then where it can go next. You could say the same thing about The Force Awakens, and you can, but The Force Awakens here is kind of like the forerunner. It's going to break all the records. It's going to do all the stuff. It's going to be the cool kids movie. I always am going to root for that underdog as well. And Creed deserves to be right there. It won't make near the money that Force Awakens will, but despite it being out longer, but it hangs, and as far as I'm concerned, it's right there with The Force Awakens. And so much for me that my number one movie of 2015, I'm okay saying that it is Creed. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Vegabomberlandians. So what did you think? Did I leave some films off? Or there's some films that you think I rated too high or too low or should have been on here? What was your top 5? All you have to do is comment below and let's have a conversation about it. You can also go to my page, but you should subscribe, like, and share, because I will always tell you what I think of the movies. I go to at least 35 movies a year on my own dime. No one pays for the movies for me to go sit in. It's just my own love of film. I pay for it. I go see them. And I try to look at it all the way around. I don't go too far fanboy. I don't go too far critic. Just, there's got to be a nice middle. And to me, these were the films. Anyway, it's your boy Vegabomber. I hope you're having a great new year. And coming up next, the most anticipated films that I'm waiting for to see in 2016. Because now that we're in 2016, and we're putting a bow on 2015 and saying it was a good year, we also want to look forward. And I'll have that as well.